What's going on, guys? This is my first rant video. In this video, I'll be ranting about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., aka the most privileged, spoiled boxer that I've ever known, right? Again, can you guys please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel? That's all I ask you guys to do, just so, the people who want to hear me and hear my opinions have that opportunity to, hear me talk, because this is my platform now. So before I get into Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., let me say a few positive things about him. The first thing is that it is very difficult as a man, as any man, to live up to their father's expectations. And his father being the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, his expectations were unreachable. So, yes, he's privileged. Yes, he grew up with all his opportunities, but it can be very depressing. It could cause you a lot of stress, and it can cause you a lot of doubts, because to never reach the levels your father did. And a lot of people who have successful parents in any field trying to pursue the same field probably feel very similar. So in a sport that obviously the consequences are very dire and the cameras are watching, although like I said, he was very privileged and spoiled and matched properly, he didn't have it as easy as a lot of people think from that aspect. And the other aspect is, although his career, in my opinion, was very overrated, that Andy Lee win, retrospectively speaking, although he did bring a size advantage, was a good win, was a solid win, because nobody stopped Andy Lee that way. Although Andy Lee was beat before that, the way he stopped him was impressive at the time, and like I said, looking back on it, it's even more of an impressive win. Now to the negatives, which really begins with the fight itself. People talk about responsibility, what journalists have and whatever have. Some people agree that fight predictions are good. Some people think fight predictions are bad. But I really don't understand why any legitimate quote-unquote journalist would consider this a competitive fight in any aspect. And obviously I'm referring to the Canelo Chavez fight, which happened, I think maybe a week or so ago. After Chavez had those two close fights, the first fight I thought he lost to Vera, I just didn't think he was at any level, especially because of the fact that he was fighting below his weight class. And not that many fighters come back after taking a loss like Fonfore and rejuvenate themselves. And even in that Reyes fight, he didn't look so well to be competitive against Canelo, right? Now, size is an advantage in boxing, but only if the skills are somewhat similar. And Canelo has issues with certain types of fighters, but if you're standing in front of him and brawling, which is Chavez's only way to win and his impose his style, you're tailor-made for him, right? So going into that fight, maybe I was negative, maybe I was pessimistic, but in my opinion, I was being very reasonable and objective in how I saw the fight. And it happened exactly how I wanted it to be, which is why, as a consumer, right, because all I am is a fan of the sport. I'm not a journalist. I don't work for any publication. I'm just a fan of the sport. I chose not to spend $70 on that type of mismatch, right? So I think, again, that what turns the public off the most to boxing is two things. The first is the fights that never happened, which, thank God, we're finally getting the Triple G Canelo fight, and these types of mismatches, because the people who are supposedly in the know and the experts deceive the public by being dishonest or just being into the hype by not properly analyzing this type of mismatch, right? This is not a fight that didn't lead up to the, sometimes there's fights that on paper seem close, and then become a mismatch, like Postal Crawford was a mismatch because Crawford showed greatness because Victor Postal is a good fighter coming off a good win. Chavez Jr. came off absolutely nothing. So I think that this was a last day payday. He didn't do his name well by doing this. I think he would have been fine retiring after the Fonfore knockout loss, because he gave it a try and he just never reached the type of he didn't have the type of talent, at least from what I saw, and he never obviously reached the type of greatness his father did, which is okay, because not everybody can be great in boxing, but he still had a solid career in the essence. It's just not an elite fighter, in my opinion. Now to the juicy stuff, which is the robbery, which I think is more interesting than the fight itself, right? So there's this Boxing Scene article that he speaks about being robbed of his $40,000 watch, his 7-figure check for fighting Canelo. He also noted that his cell phone was missing. how in the fuck can you get a check robbed from you sitting there? That to me is like, it makes absolutely no sense. First off, it's a check. It's not cash. So you cancel the fucking check and you get the check to be reinstated or rewritten. So who gives a fuck about that, right? Secondly, that video, to me, it clearly looked like Chavez was hanging around some hookers, right? So he comes out as being the man of the people, the man who cares about the women, because supposedly there was men who robbed them and vice versa. Like, I don't care what he said, in my opinion, right? And this is just me ranting, of course. He got robbed by some pimps, or not robbed by some pimps. They were refusing to pay for the hookers that they invited in to party with them, thus getting quote unquote robbed. That happens in Vegas, right? There's a lot of people who, there's a lot of women, there's a lot of prostitutes, and obviously, unfortunately, and a dirty part of the industry is that there's pimps. So Chavez Jr. is full of shit about this. I think a lot of people see it, but I think it'd be better for him to really get out of the public eye for a long time, because this is not a good look to have that video like that. Having said that, right, I am so against people filming any type of interaction, whether it be a prostitute, whether it be someone doing drugs. I remember, and this is to a lesser extent, I remember Michael Phelps lost millions of dollars because some fucking asshole took a picture or a video of him taking a hit of a bong because the motherfucker was working so hard his whole life. He didn't have a college experience. So him smoking a little bit of weed made it seem like that he was, the devil, or not a role model anymore, because they put him on blast, and it's kind of hard to justify using an illegal substance, because it still is illegal, to the people that don't understand and don't have the type of, reasonability that, like myself, obviously, someone who has had his fair share of partying, to say that, look, he's a kid, he just took a hit of a bong, big fucking deal. So I don't like when anybody films somebody doing something and it makes them look bad. They sell it to TMZ, they sell it to whatever, and it's just overall a bad look. But Chavez Jr. really needs to reevaluate his life. I don't think it should involve boxing, because someone that has that name could only fight at this level, or just the level right below. And we saw what happened when he chose to fight it that way. And he was complaining further about his weight. I think his weight was his one advantage he had throughout his career. I'm not accusing anybody per se of drugs, but there's weird ways that you can make weight and still perform decently. So I don't know, like I feel the pain or the expectations might have caused Chavez to act certain ways and do certain things, because his father does seem kind of like a pretty stern, prideful man, which obviously made him one of the greatest fighters to ever live. But it also, it could fuck up a young kid. Now he's obviously an adult now, but it could, have a lot of expectations. So I just really overall, I just honestly feel like that the media was not as negative on this fight as I felt like they responsibly should have. I heard that reportedly 1 million people bought it, and 1 million people thought that they were robbed of their money because they thought that the size in itself and the name would be warranted a great fight against Canelo, which I've been critical of Canelo during certain types of opponents, but like I said, someone who stands in front of Canelo who doesn't have great lateral movement, Canelo's going to destroy, because Canelo's elite. And Chavez Jr. has never been there and never even shown that type of talent, in my opinion. So, and the other thing is that the bullshit report, it's just, he was more worried, it was like money, he pretended that he lost his 7-figure paycheck against Canelo, which again is a fucking check. You could get a reinstatement to it, but he was like, money come, money goes. I just hope that the women weren't injured. Come on, bro. You're full of fucking shit. Just get out of the media for a little while and just move on with your life. Hopefully we never have to see you box again, for the sake of your family, because you're going to continue to take a lot of punishment. And that's pretty much it with this rant. I will do more random rants coming if there's more topics, more organized, improving the quality of the videos and sounds. I'm just starting this, learn this all myself. So any support, any likes, any shares is greatly appreciated, because I only do this because for myself and for the few people who enjoy hearing me talk boxing and other things. So Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.